From more stuff that Homer stole from Ned in the Simpsons house set, to the actual rib witch that gave Homer the stain on his shirt in the Krusty Burger set. Even after my last 2 videos on LEGO Simpsons, I somehow missed these small details and a bunch of other ones in all 4 sets. So today, I'll be going over 26 more small details that you miss in LEGO Simpsons, starting with some rib witch references in the Krusty Burger set. In season 14, episode 12, I'm spelling as fast as I can, the rib witch is introduced as the Krusty Burger's limited time sandwich. It's made from some mystery animal meat that's been molded into the shape of ribs, and Homer becomes absolutely obsessed with it. He literally follows a tour of rib witch fans called rib heads across the country just to keep eating them before they're discontinued forever. Because of this, Homer's minifigure in the set has a stain from the rib witch, and if you go into the restaurant, you can actually find one sitting on one of the tables. But there's also a sticker in the set that shows the rib witch mascot, Ribbit. Ribbit is only on screen for like 30 seconds in the entire rib witch episode, but he's unforgettable. He's the guy in a toad costume who's completely soaked in rib witch sauce, and in the episode, he encourages people to lick his costume to get a free sample of the sauce. It's disgusting and hilarious at the same time, and it's exactly the kind of thing Krusty would do to promote his food. So LEGO turned Ribbit into a minifigure for a rib witch advertisement poster. But let's move into the kitchen, because there are a ton of references in here. If you look at the order screen, it says the next order is for 700 Krusty Burgers. And if you know your Simpsons episodes, you know exactly what this is from. In season 5, episode 8, Boy Scouts in the Hood, Homer, Bart, Ned Flanders, and Rod Flanders end up stranded at sea after a camping trip goes wrong. They're starving and dehydrated, and then out of nowhere, they find a Krusty Burger in the middle of the ocean on an unmanned oil rig, which makes absolutely no sense, but it's The Simpsons, so it doesn't have to. Homer runs through the doors and screams,
"Give me 700 Krusty Burgers!"
So LEGO putting that exact number on the screen is a very obvious reference to this moment. Further into the kitchen, you can find a crate of Krusty Burger coleslaw, and it's labeled Best by February 1994. This is just a perfect representation of how disgusting the Krusty Burger really is. Throughout the entire show, it's shown as the lowest quality, most unhealthy fast food restaurant in all of Springfield. But somehow, not everything in the kitchen is that terrible. The burgers actually have lettuce and tomatoes on them, which is super weird for the Krusty Burger. In the show, the burgers are notoriously unhealthy and barely have any real ingredients, especially vegetables. But here's the thing. In season 20, episode 21, Coming to Homerica, Krusty launches a new burger called the Mother Nature Burger. It's supposed to be a healthy vegetarian burger. And look, it actually has lettuce and tomatoes on it. And since the LEGO burgers do too, this probably means that these burgers are actually Mother Nature burgers. There's already an ad for them in the set, so I guess including the burgers themselves makes a lot of sense. But now let's look at the cash registers, because they have 2 different prices on them, and they're both actually references to different things. The first register shows $6.15, and this is referencing season 6, episode 15, Homie the Clown. That's the episode where Krusty opens a clown college to make money, and Homer enrolls in it. It's a classic Simpsons episode, but the second register shows $847.63, and this reference is even better. In the original Simpsons opening sequence, Marge is checking out at the grocery store with Maggie, but the cashier accidentally scans her instead of the groceries, and the register shows $847.63. For years, fans wondered what the number actually meant, and eventually it was revealed that when The Simpsons first started in 1989, this was the estimated monthly cost of raising a baby in the United States. Clearly, the designers really did their homework for this set, because there's also a Drederick Tatum grill in the kitchen, which is a parody of the George Foreman grill. If you don't know who Drederick Tatum is, he's the heavyweight boxing champion in The Simpsons, and he's basically their version of George Foreman. George Foreman was a real-life boxer who became a household name in the 90s and 2000s because of the George Foreman grill. He endorsed it everywhere, and it became one of the most successful celebrity products ever. So The Simpsons took that same idea and made a Drederick Tatum grill for The Simpsons universe. It's one of those jokes where if you know the real-world reference and the show, it's instantly funny. Now, if you look right outside the kitchen, there's a poster that says slide whistle lessons, and this is a reference to Sideshow Mel. If you don't know who Sideshow Mel is, he's Krusty's current sidekick on the Krusty the Clown show. After Sideshow Bob went to prison, Krusty needed a new sidekick, so he hired Mel, and on the show, he always talks using a slide whistle. There's no clear indicator that this is actually Mel's ad, but if you know The Simpsons, you know it couldn't be anyone else. Right next to this poster, though, is the bathroom, and it has one of the funniest details in the whole set. In the show, the bathroom in the Krusty Burger literally never has toilet paper, and since these designers are clearly Simpsons superfans, they designed it with a Technic pin sticking out of one of the walls to represent an empty toilet paper holder. This might be the smallest detail in this whole video, but I low-key think it's the best one. Anyways, now let's move over to the Simpsons house set. Like I said in the intro, I missed small details in all 4 Simpsons sets, but the funny thing is, I only missed 2 details in the Simpsons house, and they're both basically the same thing. First, there's a barbecue that says property of Ned Flanders on it, and second, there's a wheelbarrow that also says property of Ned Flanders on it. Both of these are obviously referencing how Homer steals stuff from Ned. In my first video, I talked about the air conditioner, so I guess I should have known there'd be way more of his stuff in this set. But now, let's move to the Kwik-E-Mart, because this is where I missed the most details, and a lot of them are actually on the outside of the building, so let's start there. First up, there's a wanted poster that says wanted for treason, and this is from season 7, episode 16, Lisa the Iconoclast. In this episode, Lisa is doing a school project on Jebediah Springfield, who's the founder of Springfield and a local hero. But while she's researching at the museum, she discovers something shocking. Jebediah Springfield wasn't actually a hero. He was a pirate named Hans Sprungfield who tried to assassinate George Washington. Along with finding his confession, she also finds his wanted poster, which shows that he was wanted for treason against the United States. And somehow it ended up on the Kwik-E-Mart. Right next to the wanted poster, there's a missing cats poster, and this is a reference to the crazy cat lady. Her whole thing is that she walks around town screaming gibberish and throwing cats at people that pass by her house. And I guess she threw 30 of them, because that's how many she's looking for on her poster. There's also an advertisement for the Leftorium, which is Ned Flanders' store that only sells products for left-handed people. It's been in a few different episodes, but it's most famously in season 3, episode 7, when Flanders failed. Again, this is another classic episode, because Homer actually ends up feeling bad for Ned, which is the complete opposite of how he usually feels. But one of the most recognizable posters on the outside of the Kwik-E-Mart is the Spider Pig poster. This is referencing a scene from the Simpsons movie, which came out in 2007. In the movie, Homer adopts a pig that he names Plopper, but he also calls him Spider Pig. There's this whole scene where Homer makes Plopper walk on the ceiling and sings a whole song for him.
Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does.
It's one of the most memorable moments from the movie, and it became a huge meme online. There's also a Springfield seafood poster featuring Blinky the three-eyed fish. Blinky is one of the most iconic recurring characters in The Simpsons, and he represents the pollution caused by Mr. Burns' nuclear power plant. He first appeared way back in season 2, episode 4, 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish, where Bart catches him in the river near the power plant. But this specific poster in the Lego set is actually based on a billboard from season 22, episode 20, Homer Scissorhands, so it's referencing a very particular moment in the show. Alright, that's everything on the outside of the Kwik-E-Mart, so now let's go inside, because there are even more details in there. When you walk into the Kwik-E-Mart, the first thing you see is all the merchandise for sale, and there are a bunch of magazines, newspapers, and cards on the shelves, and they're all actually references to different things. First up, there are Angry Dad comics. If you don't remember, Angry Dad is a webcomic that Bart made in season 13, episode 21, I Am Furious Yellow. The comic is based on Homer and all of his anger issues, and Bart draws it after realizing how much his dad yells about literally everything. The comic actually becomes really popular in the episode, and it even gets turned into a cartoon. Next to the Angry Dad comics, there's a magazine called Mom Monthly, and this is something Marge actually reads in the show. In the opening sequence, Marge is in line at the grocery store with Maggie, and she's reading Mom Monthly while she waits. The Kwik-E-Mart also has Valentine's cards for sale, and 2 of them are from season 4, episode 15, I Love Lisa. The first card says Let's Be Friends, with a picture of a bee on it, and the second one says You're Appealing, with a picture of a banana and a monkey. Both of these cards are in the episode, which is one of the most beloved episodes in Simpsons history. The episode is all about Lisa giving Ralph Wiggum a Valentine out of pity because she feels bad that no one else gave him one. But Ralph completely misinterprets it and thinks Lisa has a crush on him. The whole episode is about Ralph being obsessed with Lisa, and Lisa trying to figure out how to let him down easy. At the end, Lisa gives Ralph the "Let's Be Friends" card, and Ralph actually laughs at the pun and accepts it. But while all of that was going on, Homer was picking out cards too. While he was looking, he came across the "You're Appealing" card and thought it was really funny, since, you know, they're monkeys. An episode like this is more than worthy of 2 callbacks, but the Kwik-E-Mart also has 2 newspapers for sale. The first one is the Springfield Shopper, which is the main newspaper in Springfield. The specific cover story in the Lego set is from season 14, episode 17, 3 Gays of the Condo. The second newspaper is the Springfield Inquisitor, which is a tabloid. This one is from season 18, episode 16, Homerazzi. In that episode, Homer becomes a paparazzi photographer and starts taking embarrassing photos of Springfield celebrities. The Springfield Inquisitor is the tabloid that publishes his photos, and it's basically their version of a gossip magazine. Another thing the Kwik-E-Mart sells is obviously food, and there are 2 specific food items in the set that reference different things. First, there are power sauce bars in the back. These are from season 9, episode 23, King of the Hill. In this episode, Homer decides to climb the Murderhorn, which is Springfield's version of the Matterhorn from Europe. He trains by eating power sauce bars, which are advertised as being made with 6 different kinds of apples and full of healthy energy. Homer believes this and eats them constantly while climbing the mountain, but then he finds out the truth. Power sauce bars aren't made with apples at all. They're made from apple cores and old Chinese newspapers. There's also soup for one in the Kwik-E-Mart, and this is a reference to Edna Krabappel. Edna was Bart's teacher for most of the series, and she was known for being cynical, divorced, and lonely. Soup for one is supposed to represent single-serving meals for people who live alone, so obviously Edna was always buying them. But of course, she'd have to pay cash, because there's a sticker that says, "No checks, credit cards, or food stamps." This poster has been inside the real Kwik-E-Mart forever, and obviously Apu is extremely cheap and wants to make as much money as possible. So Lego didn't really have a choice but to include this sticker. The last thing I'll show you in the Kwik-E-Mart is actually hidden on the ceiling. Right above the coffee bar and the donut cabinet, there's a little heart with Apu's name and his wife Manjula, even though all she does is nag him for pretty much the entire show. But it's still cute. Anyways, the last small detail I'll show you is actually in the Homer Simpson Brickhead set. We all know about the smaller pink piece being used for his brain, but Homer's also hiding something else. You can actually open his stomach like a drawer and find 3 donuts inside. Obviously, Homer is basically in love with donuts, so it's only right that he gets to live out his fantasy in Lego form too. But what small detail surprised you the most? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.